Monday night, and we're going to get into some topics tonight. So I'll give it a minute or two, let a few folks get into the chat, and then we'll talk about it. Hope everybody's week is off to a fantastic start. This is the end of my weekend, basically, right now, so getting ready to go back to work tomorrow and go make the big bucks. You know, not really, but hey, what's up, Lawrence? How you doing tonight? I like that comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to, the thing is, there's a million people out there that talk prison, right? And a lot of them have a lot more experience at that stuff than I do. So, I'm trying to talk about what I know about, But I appreciate the comment. I hope you're doing well. What's up, Psycho World? How are you tonight? Everything is good, brother. Glad to see you tap in. So, yeah, I'm going to give it another minute or two and see if we can get a few more people in here. I think it's lagging on the counter on my end, but do me a favor in the meantime, guys. Hit that like button, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe, Nitro Bob, what is up? How many people is it showing on your guys' in the chat? Because mine's stuck at 1. But I've seen 3 different comments already. So unless people are just sticking and moving, I think there's a little more than that in there. I hope you're doing well, Nitro Bob. Always good to see you. To hear from you. You already know it, Psycho World. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm showing now too. Okay, good stuff. I appreciate it. So tonight, I want to kind of dive into the topic of stereotypes. And, sometimes you look at a person and you say, man, that dude's up to no good. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering, what is the image that I give off? What would you think if you seen me? Would you think, oh, that guy's up to no good? Would you think, oh, just a regular guy? What would you think? What's up, Agitator 263? I hope you're doing well, brother. We went grocery shopping a little bit ago, and there were some homeless folks out front of the store, and you thought, okay, and like I didn't feel threatened by these guys or anything like that. Like they looked like hikers with like the backpacks on and stuff. What's up, Gene? How you doing? And one of them came in the store and was walking around, and no, and I understand, Nitro Bob. I didn't necessarily think they were up to no good, but I could see where some people might look at them and, think that way. You know what I mean? Like my initial thought looking at it was 2 white guys, right? And it's 90-something degrees outside. Dude's got a long sleeve flannel on. And right away that tells me, okay, you're covering up markings. That's when I grew up, that's what that meant. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know if that was the case with these gentlemen or not, but that was the impression I got. And, who am I to judge? I wasn't like, oh my God, like they need to stay away from me type of thing. But, it got me to thinking about that, and sometimes first impressions can mean a lot, you know. Uh, first impression of somebody could like totally steer you away from somebody that could end up being your best friend. You know what I mean? Or somebody that may rob you. I mean, ultimately, right? Nitro Bob says, hit the like button. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, definitely hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, it's just wondering what people's impressions were of me. If you've been watching my videos, you kind of know where my mindset is at these days. And to be honest with you, from my experience, a lot of times the people that make you feel the most comfortable around them are a lot of times the most dangerous people, believe it or not. I tell you several times where I've been locked up and there was somebody quiet that was very respectful and and I hear you. People that are very respectful, very, not really in the mix of things, but when shit cracks off, watch out, you know what I mean? So first impressions aren't always the best, but I can't drunk. Yeah, now I hear you, Nitro Bob. Hey, it's baby steps, right? Heading in the right direction, though, brother. I will definitely say that. So, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to... bad things will happen. Are you on some meds that are... I remember my dad took... When I was a kid, he was on Antabuse, I think it was. And if he drank, it made him real sick. You know? Paul, I haven't really been in the gym all that much lately. I'm trying to get in there 3 to 4 times a week. Last week was a really busy week, and I had a loved one that was in the hospital and stuff, so I didn't get in there last week, but trying to get back on the horse with that, you know? Yeah, and that's understandable, Nitro Bob. That's definitely... Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's good that, you're recognizing that there's a problem there, you know what I mean? And absolutely, Paul, life on life's terms, you know? I talked about that a little bit last night, you know? People tend to think that, oh, well, I'm sober now. Everything's supposed to be perfect and they're supposed to roll out the red carpet and shit. We all know it don't work that way if you're in recovery, you know? So, yeah, of course, Nitro Bob. I always appreciate it when you tap in with us, you know? You're doing your thing, you know? What's up, John? How you doing? But life's going to come at us, you know? And it's just a matter of having a good contingency plan to stay on the right path because, sometimes when things don't go our way, we tend to be quick to jump back in the bottle or the bag. And, if you've been doing it long enough, you know the answer ain't at the bottom. You know what I mean? I'm doing pretty well, John. I appreciate it. Kind of a rough week, but, still kicking, bro. We're off to a good start this week, and we're going to keep on pushing, you know? Yeah, and absolutely, Nitro Bob. I completely agree. Hey, I appreciate that, Sajid. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Appreciate you being a longtime viewer and tapping in with us, you know? These lives would be nothing without input from you guys, you know? Agitator says, you got to always have a good support system that helps. Absolutely. You know? Yeah, in the summer heat... I would imagine by that comment, you're probably in the east somewhere, right? I know they had a crazy-ass heat wave last week or the week before, And it's hot out here in Cali now, but it hasn't been, we haven't seen the extreme stuff yet, you know what I mean? And of course, Sajid, John says, I'm from Southeast Louisiana. Okay. Man. Like just the whole, all the weather stuff lately, that those, 4th, I had to work, Nitro Bob, unfortunately. Okay, shout out to Lebanon. That's right. Well, I truly appreciate you. I hope you're safe out there. I know things have been kind of crazy in that region lately. You know, hopefully they can get some lasting peace going out there. But you guys know me, I don't really delve into the politics too much. But yeah, the weather has been wild. Those floods in Texas, like that, I couldn't believe that. They said that river rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. Now think about that for a minute. Go outside and look at the highest part of your house. Double that. You know what I mean? That's a lot of friggin' water. That's a lot of water. Yeah, and definitely, we're keeping you guys in our prayers, Sajid. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was some wild stuff. I think I was still going to the hospital. Agitator says, I'm in Arizona. Where are you from? I'm from Southern California, Agitator. The high desert, to be exact. Inland Empire. Yeah, yeah, like I said, I was still going to the hospital at that point every day. And I briefly seen some stuff on the news about a flash flood in Texas. And I'm thinking, well, that seems a little weird, but flash floods do happen. You know what I mean? Hey, that's right. Shout out to you, Taff Wood. Appreciate you tapping in. I hope you're well, brother. Saw you live and probably gonna go to bed when you're off YouTube. Has been boring lately. Hey, you know what though, Nitro Bob? You just gotta find a way to make the boring good. Because I'll be honest with you, when I walked away from the live, like that was one of the biggest issues, was that, you know, like you go from 100 miles an hour craziness to cutting lawn and taking out trash and stuff. And, you know, it's a different world, but you have to find a way to make your world the best world it can be for you. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. And it worked, you know? So, there's only so much I can do. Do you hit the gym, Nitro Bob? I'll tell you what, when I was early in recovery, that was like one of the biggest ways to get the dopamine going in my brain, was working out. You know what I mean? You get a good workout and you kind of take a look in the mirror and you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm starting to see some muscles there. Like that, you know, it sounds, it's not cocky, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a good way to get you feeling good. Taffwood says, I struggle every day with giving up the life. Yeah, like I said, it was, you know, one of the, you know, I went from being a dope dealer, basically running around in the streets, and you know, a lot of people allegedly looking up to me, looking up to the sack, more like it, you know what I mean? But thinking I'm Mr. Popular or something. And you know, when I came to the realization that they didn't love me, they just loved Zach, that made it a little easier, you know what I mean? Because I was now surrounded by people that truly did love me. So I gave it up a year ago when I came back from Cote d'Ivoire, Africa. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So you got a little sobriety about a year. That's great. Congratulations. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Yeah, absolutely, Nitro Bob. So why the name Nitro Bob? Are you a race car guy or something? I've always wondered about that. You got the Honda Civic with the nitro bottles or what? And absolutely, find ways to move forward, You know, you make the best of the circumstances that you have. Absolutely, Tapwood. Tapwood says, when you become popular in the streets, the cops also become more familiar with you. Absolutely. In San Bernardino in the 90s, there was a couple of smash cops. Smash was something measures against street hoodlums. They're like the crash unit in LA, basically. They're the narcotics and gang unit. And I was living on this street called Myrtle in San Bernardino, over by where the Waterman Gardens used to be, if you're familiar. And this smash cop Rico, he a couple times he pulled up in front of the pad in his unmarked cruiser, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Bobby?" You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Man, you need to take that shit on down the road, man. I ain't really got a whole lot. I ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean?" But Sexy Latina says, "Come on, like and subscribe." I appreciate that, baby. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to and hit that like button. We're coming up on 3,000 subs. And if you haven't checked out the video I dropped, Nitro RC cars. Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, so, but yeah, those smash cops, they got to know who I was. So later on, when I had a bunch of business going on in Orange County, I learned from the previous mistake, because I went from serving everybody to, okay, I got 3 or 4 people I trust that are going to move the product for me, and I don't want, you know, people come up to me, "Hey, are you Bobby?" Man, I don't know what the hell I don't know who you are. Get away from me, you know? Huh. That's good stuff. Taftwood says, "Miss Ann, I hope you're feeling better." Yeah, so I learned that I didn't want to be Mr. Popular in the streets, because unfortunately, that's right.
I went and fixed the clock and everything else.
Huh?
I went and fixed everything that you did for me. I went and fixed it again.
So, yeah, like, because, you know, going back to that, when you're popular in the streets, there's always people telling. There's, you know, we used to have this saying when I was young in the streets, that people are getting caught with a quarter gram and giving up the cook. Talking about meth, obviously, but you know, like the whole social scene became, you know, nobody was gonna ride their beef, and the thing is, you know, it's not going agitator. It's not that. I kind of gave up on that one. That one was rough, but I appreciate you asking. So I forget where I was at, but yeah, like people, like the culture became a snitch culture, you know. And man, and that's truer words were never spoken. Taftwood says, "The more people you keep around you, the less loyalty you have around you." Absolutely. And you know, people, like, I had a couple of road dogs that I kept close. I was a solo guy for the most part, but at some points, I felt like I needed an extra set of eyes and ears. And so I'd bring some people around, and they, you know, like I had one dude with me. We were in Anaheim. Some money had disappeared that was sitting on top of a microwave where we had taken care of business. I stepped away to use the restroom or something. My mistake, I didn't pick the money up. Come out, it's gone. All of a sudden, nobody knows anything. You know what I mean? Like, basically the guy that was running the house stripped a bunch of people out. Money was gone. Crazy, right? So I said, well, I'm gonna bring somebody with me who can be the eyes in the back of my head kind of thing. And after a week or two, I'm in the kitchen taking care of business with the homie Jojo, and I'm like, man, where's this fool at? Like, he's supposed to be here. He's holding on to the thing and all of that stuff because, a lot of money, a lot of dope on the table. And he's over in the living room waiting for a weed pipe to get passed around. Well, I got a pound sitting in the trunk. You know what I mean? And, like, basically, I fired his ass. Don't take your ass to the car. You're worthless to me, son. Like, but that's what addiction does to people. You know what I mean? And so I learned that it was really hard to trust anybody around me. And, the people that were smiling the most, I tended to keep that far away. You know what I mean? At least if you're mean mugging me, I know where you're coming from. And that's cool. You know what I mean? You don't like me. We don't have to like each other. But the smiling faces sometimes would be the first one to try to stick that knife in your back. So, but so we started this off talking about stereotypes, right? And I think, that's a bad way of doing things. Obviously, you have to go with your instincts in certain situations with people you don't know. But, sometimes it's like, I think people at work with me, like, they have no idea who I used to be and what I'm capable of. You know what I mean? And, I have decent relationships with people at work, but a lot of them are younger guys and they just really don't have a clue. And that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as stereotyping people, you should never assume somebody is harmless or, like, if you feel like you're in a bad situation, obviously you want to get away from that. But yeah, I've seen some folks going into the store today, to recap if you weren't here at the beginning, that were homeless or appeared to be homeless, wearing the long sleeve flannels, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I know what you do, and maybe I stereotyped them wrong. Somehow I don't think so, but but we tend to do that a lot in life, don't we? And I think that you don't want to miss opportunities in life, because there are some good people out there that you might look at and want to dismiss right away. So I don't try to judge people when I first meet them. I'm just curious. Yeah. And absolutely, And the thing is, people's, it's not what people say, it's people's actions that determine their character, in my opinion. You could say all the right things, but I'm watching you do all the wrong things, and that's all I need to know. You know what I mean? Like, and, a lot of times people will say, oh, yeah, like, I'm a good guy. Tell him. And someone else, oh, yeah, he's a good guy. Okay. When there's a saying, when you're good at something, you want to tell everybody else how good you are. But when you're great at something, everyone else will speak on you and how great you truly are. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's that. How's the weather out there in Houston, Tapwood? I seen there was some, I was looking at the Weather Channel this morning. They're saying there's some rain and stuff out there. Are they still getting flash flooding over there in the hill country? Yeah, that was a crazy storm. I think they're still finding bodies, which is horrible. I mean, you think about it, like we, man, oh man, 107. And you're in Louisiana, so it's humid too, right? You said you were in Louisiana, right? I hope I didn't get that wrong. mm. That air conditioner is working overtime today. Yeah, I'd say it's mid 90s here. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It's definitely warm. But that car I got the Arizona. That's right, Arizona. Oh, also 107 is kind of normal for you guys, isn't it? I mean, I almost moved out to Phoenix a couple years ago, and like I just can't deal with that heat. It's too hot, you know. Taftwood said it was hot. It was hot as F all day till I got off work. Then the clouds come out and started storming. Oh man. So it's humid then. Ugh. That's the one thing I struggle with the most, I think. You know, it could be 105 out here, 115 on Wednesday. Yeah, me and the wife, we went out to Phoenix a couple years ago. I was looking at transferring with my company, and I was talking to the manager, the on-site manager of the place I was going to transfer to, and he was telling me, yeah, you have about 4 years of the month that are manageable, you know, where it's not hot, and the rest of the year it's like 90 and above. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do that, you know. Oh, it's monsoons. Yeah, you guys get those dust storms, huh? Yeah, when I was trucking, I spent quite a bit of time in Phoenix. For a while, I was on the Phoenix Loop, going from Phoenix to LA every day. And, oh man, those dust storms are crazy out there. Yeah. And then I would think, especially being from Cali, you know what I mean, Tapwood, like going to that, like I've told the story of where I was in Nashville, and it was there was a heat warning, and it said the high was like 91, and I'm like, this is a joke. I'm thinking these people are soft out here. And then we walked about a half a mile down the road to a truck stop, and man, I thought I was gonna die. And I was in pretty good shape when this happened. You know what I mean? This was probably 2010, 2011. So 15 years ago. That's like in my late 30s. But yeah, for me, the dry heat's a lot better. Start getting that moisture in there. All that stuff's sticky. It's nasty. But yeah, on that high heat warning day, we walked probably a half a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile, and I couldn't breathe. It was absolutely insane, you know? Absolutely insane. Somebody said there was just a big bust up there in that Bakersfield area. You hear anything about that, Tapwood? I know that stuff goes on up there all the time. It goes on all over the place all the time in Cali, but I was going to look into that last night, but I forgot. I ended up knocking out. I was beat. Maybe it was Taft or Bakersfield, one of those areas up there. So yeah, it's Monday night. Back to work tomorrow. Ready to go make the magic happen. Okay, it was a huge meth busting Tapped. Okay, so man, I wonder if I'll have to look into that and see. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, when I'm at work, usually I'll listen to like YouTube and listen to like All arrested were from Sinaloa. Oh, wow, okay. So it's one of those kind of bust, huh? Man, that's wild. Yeah, I'm looking for some new YouTube channels to follow because the stuff I've been like, I'll put an earbud in at work and listen to stuff like prison genre, crime, and stuff like that. I'm kind of getting burnt out on the stuff I'm listening to. A lot of these prison genre channels are just, it's burnt out. It's the same old shit, you know what I mean? People, I think MobTube. I'll have to check that one out, Tapwood. Definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, they're just regurgitating shit they heard and they ain't never even been there. You know what I mean? They're like, I was in Corcoran and 4 left 2B. And, you know, like, and looking at them thinking, I don't think so, but okay. And then some of the, like, I used to listen to Dubs and Gunner and those guys. Those guys got annoying, to be honest. Like, Dubs, that dude, he talks about everybody. And the minute anybody has anything to say about him, like, he gets all butter. You know what I mean? Like, 16 to Life did a video on him, and like, oh man, he went nuclear on the dude, but oh, you know, his whole channel is based on talking shit about other people. Like, I don't know. Like, I did a video or two on that type of stuff, but like, it's not really my thing. What the next man does is not my business, as long as it don't affect my family or, you know, the people that are close to me. So, talking about Splinter, he's another one. It seems like he's gotten cleaned up lately, though. So my hats off to him for that. He said he had a relapse on Fenny, and now he's clean. But I don't know, that dude. Like, he always wants somebody to buy him a rock star or something. And I'm not here to just like go in on people, but like, stop asking for shit, dude. Go get a job like the rest of us. I don't know. I feel like, you know, you'll never see me come on here and ask the viewers for anything because I'm just like, I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? If I want something, I'll go get it. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm talking about in legit ways now. You know what I mean? But yeah. And he needs to stop dropping names and telling secondhand. I agree. And, you know, like, I did a story this morning about the blacks in the Sureños. There was a couple riots in Glen Helen back in '92. And, you know, to give the story a little more color, I added some names, but they weren't the real names because I don't like doing that stuff. It's not my place to put other people's business out there, you know what I mean? But I did give the characters names and like a kind of a description of what they looked like and where they were from, type of thing, or in a general kind of way, you know what I mean? But like, I'm not with dropping the names and, you know, telling other people's stories and shit like that. Like, that's, I don't know. I mean, maybe some people, they need that check from YouTube every month. But, you know, I mean, it would be nice. Don't get me wrong. I would love to get some checks from YouTube. I'm still trying to figure out how to get paid the money they do owe me. They don't owe me very much, a couple $100, you know what I mean? But that, I like that Gunner guy's one channel where he tells those stories like super. Those were pretty good, actually. I agree. I agree. What soured me on those guys, though, Lawrence, was him and Dubs. were on live and drinking, and like I am monetized, but I just there's an issue with the tax forms. I've sent them and everything, and they keep saying there's a problem with them. So I think I'm gonna have my daughter take a look at it and see if we can figure out how to actually get some money from these guys. But my channel don't generate a whole lot of revenue. You know, a few bucks a month, damn near literally. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't know. Maybe I would. I don't know. I'm not really. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. With those guys, so the thing I didn't like was, like Dubs always says, "Hey, you know, if you have a problem with my content, call me." But then he turns around and makes a video about the call. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are we being men and handling this stuff behind the scenes rather than doing it for content? You know, I mean, I'm not saying anybody should not watch those channels if they enjoy that content. You know what I mean? Just it ended up not being for me, you know? Yeah. And yeah, like he's mocking, basically. But, you know, I mean, like I said, the thing is, I'm not telling anybody what, you know, we're all grown-ups, right? Like, if that stuff is entertaining, then by all means. Obviously, they have much larger channels than I do. Hold on, give me just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. My bad. The wife was about to go take care of something, so I had to go see her off. But yeah, so yeah, but that's not what this live is about. I'm not you know, on here to talk shit about anybody or anything, but I'm just looking for some new channels to follow. There was another one, Central Cali Certified, I think his name was. Skinhead dude, like, that had it in for Gunner, and it's like all his content was talking shit about Gunner. And I'm like, bro, you look like you've been around a little bit. Tell us some prison stories. I want to hear what your experience was like, you know? Big old tattooed guy, and like all he's doing is talking about someone else. His whole channel was about that, so yeah, exactly. Like when I first seen the dude, I was like, wow, I bet you he's got some interesting stories. You know, like he looks like he's been around, looks like he's with the business. So ought to be interesting. And then after the fourth or the fifth video about Dubs and Gunner, I said, oh fuck. Like, I don't know. I mean, some people make a living off of that shit, I guess, talking, this isn't TMZ. Oh, you did hear about him, okay. Was he good? Because I think he said that, I've seen a story, yeah, I think it's called Central Cali Certified, Lawrence. You could probably look him up. Big old skinhead looking dude with a bunch of tats. I think he's got glasses. But he said, he told a story about that he had to go SNY. But it wasn't his fault. I think his clique got greenlit or something. So like he was putting it like, well, I'm not SNY because it wasn't my fault type of thing. And I'm thinking, I mean, like, I'm not active anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just a civilian. It don't really matter, but it sounded like bullshit to me. You know what I mean? So he was getting busy with the Bulldogs, huh? Damn, okay. Yeah, them Bulldogs are with it. I mean, hell, like if you're in California prison, you pretty much gotta be with it. If we're being honest, yeah, and that's the thing. So, and I'm not saying, look, I'm not here to judge anybody. If somebody went SNY, they went SNY. They have their reasons, or someone else had their reasons to put them there. Like I said, I'm just a regular guy that works a job nowadays, but just somebody that has a past, So it's not for me to judge. I mean, I think if I were to get, it's weird, I think about this sometimes, but if I were to get locked up again, I'm definitely telling them I'm GP until, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's just the way I was raised, I guess. Like it was always some sort of cardinal sin to be a PC inmate. And, not to take anything away from the guys on that side, because there's some killers on that side too. Don't get it twisted. But, yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's just like stuff gets ingrained into us in our youth. And, it's hard to change that way of thinking, because, I mean, when I was a youngster, like maybe about 14 years old, and there was a homie that had paroled. He's from the neighborhood down there, Sureño neighborhood in San Bernardino. If you know, you know. Like I don't put names out there, but the local boys, and dude had got out, and I heard some whispers that that dude PC'd up while he was in the joint. And honestly, like I was young, I didn't even really understand what that meant until somebody started kind of breaking it down to me. And they ended up finding that dude not too long later in some bushes over by the freeway. So, back then, now keep in mind, this is like the mid 80s or whatever, maybe the late 80s, something like that, Yeah, definitely. Hey, Taffwood, do any of those guys walk the main line at this point? I'm just curious. I don't know. I told a story about an NLR guy I was locked up with in LA County back in around 2000. That dude was, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that dude. I told a story about that. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I told a story about that. That dude was super with the business. Like he, my first impression was this guy's cocky. I don't know if I believe what he's talking about. But when it came time to get down and handle business, man, dude was frontline like a mother. You know what I mean? And like his ability to move around the LA County jail told me that he definitely had some juice. Because I ended up on the 2900 block, and dude comes strolling down with a Conor McGregor sort of swag. And he's like, oh, hey, what's up, Bobby? And like, because we had been in that riot together, and he had a bunch of dudes on him, and I assisted him, let's just say, you know what I mean? And he comes rolling up, like I said, with that Conor McGregor swag about him. And he's like, hey, who's got the block for the woods right here? And the homie next door was like, yeah, that'd be me. And like he put some juice on my name, basically. You know, like he said, hey, I was in a riot with Bobby. Anything Bobby needs, you make sure he gets it. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Like, you know, I was still kind of learning how things work, you know what I mean? And apparently I did the right thing for the right person in that riot, you know? And not to say, you know, I wasn't nobody. I was just another white guy in there trying to survive, you know what I mean? But yeah, after that, like everywhere I showed up, when I arrived in Delano, North Carolina for reception, they were like, yeah, we heard about you. The homeboy told us you were coming. You know, if you need anything, let us know. And I'm like, holy shit, like dude was legit, you know? So yeah, there was definitely some good dudes over there running with the NLR. Okay. So anyways, Stormy keeps bringing the ball over here. She wants me to throw the ball, but not right now, girl. Oh boy. So yeah, it's back to work tomorrow. Got to go get that money, you know. And we're gonna have a fantastic week this week, guys. I've already made up my mind. Oh. All right, guys. Well, anybody's got any last minute comments, go ahead and drop them now. We're going to wrap it up around the 1 hour mark, so we got about 11 minutes or so. Yeah. But hey, it's better than no. Absolutely, Lawrence. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I kind of like it where I'm at right now. I'm in a pretty good spot. Been there for a while, you know what I mean? Been there like 8 years. So, what's the question, Tapwood? But yeah, I enjoy where I'm at. What's the top of the mountain? Man, I'm still climbing, Tapwood. I think, you know, you could use this for sobriety too, I think, right? There was an old truck driver told me one time when I was new into trucking. He told me this. He said, hey, Bobby. He said, when you think you've got it all figured out, he said, go hang them keys up because you're going to kill somebody. You know what I mean? You have to constantly learn something new every day in order to be successful in this field. And I really took that to heart, you know? And I feel like you could use that for sobriety as well. Because once you think you've got it all figured out and you're at the top of the mountain, then you stop working. And once you stop working, if you're not moving forward, you're moving back. You know what I mean? So all the demons that you left behind you have a chance to catch up. So I'm kind of free balling it here, but you know, when you think you got it all figured out, like I said last night about absolutely, that's right, and that's exactly what it is, you know, like when you know, like that kind of goes with where I work too, you know, like when you get complacent with things, that's when people get hurt and stuff. You know, the work I do, I think it's easy, you know what I mean, for the most part. Like it can be a little bit physically taxing, but it's more mentally taxing. And the minute you let your guard down and you think, oh, I've got this, uh, hey, God bless you as well, Josh, and keep it going, you know. Yeah. Are you doing meetings, Lawrence? Because yeah, you know that's kind of what happens. You know, the most important thing to know in the oil field, the most dangerous thing on the rig is complacency. Absolutely. You know what? I've had two. I wouldn't call them injuries. I'd call them like I one night I opened up. I used the bolt cutters to open up a bolt seal off the back of a door. And when I went back to my truck, I went to throw the bolt cutters onto the catwalk of the truck, and my finger got pinched between the catwalk and the bolt cutters, and I thought I broke it. It turned out it wasn't broken, but it was all swollen and purple for a couple days. And that was complacency, you know? And then there was another incident that happened not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, where I was getting down off the truck and the corner of my shorts got caught on the fuel cap, and I overextended my knee. And you know, it's just being complacent in what I'm doing, and that goes for sobriety as well. You know, like you know, I think the reason that they suggest that you sponsor people once you work those steps is because you can always learn. You know what I mean? Either you're gaining knowledge or you're giving knowledge, but at the same time, the conversations you're having with people that are new into sobriety, excuse me, are invaluable to your own sobriety. You know what I mean? So, you know, the program does work, but it's not a magic program where you know, you pop in the tape and you sit back and you watch like it's hands on. You know what I mean? Jeff with it, I got frostbite on my finger thinking I was an effing Eskimo working on Derek. Damn, bro. Well, hopefully you're good now and that's all behind you, you know, but yeah. No, I haven't been in years. Long story short, I kind of stopped in 2021 when I relocated. I do talk to friends and such to keep my awareness up. I mean, I got 7 years, no booze. That's a good thing, bro. And to be honest with you, Lawrence, I don't do meetings anymore either. But, you know, I do talk with people and I do have friends and I have my circle of sober folks that I do keep in contact with. And, you know, it's helpful. Congratulations on the 7 years of sobriety, bro. That's an amazing accomplishment, you know? Okay. Yeah, that, man. Yeah, absolutely. And it helps me just as much. I appreciate you tapping in, Lawrence, and Tapwood, and Agitator. You guys help me just as much as I help, I think. You know what I mean? If I'm helping people. But, you know, this is my therapy hour, you know, for me. Because it just reminds me that, you know what? The game out there, it's just like I left it, all fucked up. You know? And I know if I go out there and relapse, I'm going to be in handcuffs in no time because it's just my nature. That's my brake pedal basically, is a sheriff's cruiser or a PD car or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? But once I unleash the beast, there's no reeling him in without some support from the authorities. So that's what it is. Yeah, if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. I think we're going to go ahead and wind it down for the night. I appreciate everybody that participated tonight. This was awesome, you know. There weren't a ton of people in here, but that's okay. The right people were in here. And that's what's important, you know. So, unfortunately, all of my friends aren't sober. No real drug users anymore, but, you know, drinkers even if social. But what you just said is also why I can't crack a cold one. Handcuffs. Yeah, absolutely, Lawrence. But the thing is, though, it seems like you've gained that awareness about that, so that's good. So you understand what it's going to lead to, you know what I mean? Just like I understand, just like Tapwood understands, that, you know, there's, no matter what the action, there's always a consequence, whether it's positive or negative. And unfortunately, when it comes to substances and alcohol, that's my consequence. And, you know, in my opinion, jail is a young man's game. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave it to the young men to go ahead and handle that shit in there, you know? It's funny because I watch that show 60 Days In sometimes on the weekend on reruns. And I see these guys in the dorms and the pods and all that stuff. And I think, man, that shit looks weak. Like I could go in there and run that shit. Like and let me be clear, like I'm not trying to be like cocky or something like that, because I'm not, you know, but like I look at some of these places where they do the 60 days in and I think, man, their system is weak. They need organization. I'd get that wood pile in shape real quick. But now, you know, but at the same time, I watch that stuff, like, and I watch those cop shows like On Patrol Live or whatever it's called. And I see him searching the bag, you know, whose meth is this? And that's a good reminder too, you know. What I don't watch is those Drugs Incorporated shows. I can't stand watching them shows because, you know, that it's just bad. I don't need to be looking at that stuff. But the cop shows really do. They're a good reminder, you know. Tonight made for a good hour, and I'm too old for jail now. Oh, thank you. Of course, Lawrence, I really appreciate you tapping in, brother. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Family, fitness, and freedom are the things that allow me to get my life together, and they can help you as well. Just remember, it's about the company that you keep. If you look around and you're hanging around with 4 idiots, I hate to say it, but chances are you're the 5th, you know? So don't be an idiot. I'm going to leave it right there, guys. Appreciate you all. Have a great week. Be safe, be sober, and don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing. Till next time, guys.